Learn English with simple yet effective English podcasts and practice with PDFs in each lesson.
Hey there, welcome back to the English Podcast. It's your favorite English coach, Steve, here to brighten your day and improve your English at the same time.
And I'm Gwen, here to provide practical tips, fun facts, and, let's be honest, to keep Steve on track.
She's not wrong. Now let me ask you this. When you're studying English, what language do you usually think in? Do you translate everything into your mother tongue?
Today's episode is all about one of the biggest challenges English learners face, thinking in English.
If you've ever thought, why can't I think in English? This episode is for you. We're going to talk about why it happens, share some relatable stories, and give you real, actionable tips to get your brain into English mode.
So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Let's start with the big question. Why is thinking in English so hard?
Here's the deal. Your brain is loyal to your native language. It's like that one friend who won't stop texting you even when you're trying to focus, even during a movie.
Thinking in English is tough because your brain has spent years, maybe even decades, thinking in your native language. It's familiar. It's comfortable. It's like your favorite old armchair.
Another reason is the translation habit. When you're learning English, your brain automatically tries to translate everything. It's like having a built-in translator constantly working overtime.
Imagine you're trying to say, I'm hungry. Your brain goes, wait, what's hungry in my language? Now, translate that into English. Got it. It's like a mental relay race.
That sounds exhausting and slow.
It is, but it's completely normal in the beginning. Translating is how your brain learns connections between words. It's like building a bridge piece by piece.
There's also the issue of vocabulary. If you don't know enough words, you can't form sentences or ideas in English. It's like trying to bake a cake without all the ingredients.
Yeah, it's like trying to paint a picture with only 3 colors. You need more tools to express yourself. Imagine trying to explain a complex emotion with just happy or sad.
Oh, and don't forget the fear of mistakes. You want to think perfectly, so you freeze up. It's like being afraid to dance because you might step on someone's toes.
I've read research about this. Studies from Language Learning Quarterly show that people who embrace making mistakes learn languages faster. They see mistakes as feedback, not failures.
Yep, mistakes aren't bad. They're stepping stones. They're like little signposts showing you where to improve.
All right, Gwen. I think our listeners want this episode to get practical. If someone's just starting to think in English, where should they begin?
Great question, Steve. I'd say they should start with the simplest thoughts. Everyday things like, what am I doing right now? Or, what do I want to eat? It's like starting with baby steps.
Okay, let's test this out. Gwen, right now, what are you thinking in English?
Right now, I'm thinking I need a cup of coffee after this podcast. And maybe a small snack.
Of course you are. Let me try. This conversation is fun, but I'm getting hungry. And I'm wondering if I should water my plants later.
Oh yeah, that works too. See? It's easy when you keep it simple. It's about building a habit, one thought at a time.
And to our listeners, what about you? Take a moment right now and think, what's happening around me? What am I feeling?
And if you get stuck, don't worry. The key is to try, even if the sentences aren't perfect. It's about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. Thinking in English isn't about being perfect. It's about practicing. Start with small, simple thoughts, and soon your brain will get used to it. It's like training a muscle.
Here's a fun challenge for our listeners.
Ooh, what's that? I'm curious.
Right now, think in English and complete this sentence. I'm listening to this podcast because...
Nice. You can pause us if you need to and really think about it.
Okay, let's start. Why are you listening?
Did you say something like, I want to improve my English? Or maybe, I don't know why I'm listening, but it's fun? Or perhaps, I like Steve's jokes.
Whatever your reason, that's a small step toward thinking in English. It's a moment of conscious thought in the language.
Let's kick it up a notch. What's another way to practice thinking in English?
Describing your surroundings is a fantastic way to practice. Steve, look around. What do you see?
Let's see. I see a microphone in front of me. It's black and shiny. And I see my notes, which I barely use because I'm so good at this. And I see a window with a blue sky outside.
Oh, really? Let me try. I see my laptop. It's silver, and the keyboard is glowing. I also see my water bottle. It's pink and has a sticker that says, "Stay hydrated." And I see a plant on my desk. It needs watering.
Nice one. Okay, listeners, your turn. Look around right now and describe 3 things you see in English.
For example, you could say, I see my phone. It's black and has a cracked screen. Or, I see a book. It's big and has a blue cover. Or, I see my cat sleeping on the couch.
Let's pause the podcast. Take a moment and try it out.
All right, I think our listeners are ready to learn a new phrase.
Let's do it. Today's phrase is brighten someone's day.
It means to make someone feel happier or more positive. To bring joy to someone.
Like, Gwen always brightens my day with her coffee obsession and her insightful comments.
Ha ha. And Steve brightens my day by making me laugh with his silly jokes and his enthusiasm.
See? Learning English can be fun, and it can also be a way to brighten someone else's day by sharing a laugh or a kind word. Listening to my favorite song always brightens my day. It's like a little burst of sunshine in my ears.
Keep practicing thinking in English, and soon it will feel natural. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us know what you like and what we can improve. The next phrase to learn is fear of something, the anxiety about something. For example, the fear of mistakes kept us from trying new things.
Let's learn stepping stones, actions or experiences that help achieve a goal. Each project you complete is a stepping stone to success.
It's that nagging voice that holds you back. Now we have kick it up a notch, to increase the E level. Let's kick it up a notch and finish this work quickly.
Think of them as building blocks on your path. The last word in this small session is get stuck, to be unable to move forward or make progress. If you get stuck, take a break and try again later.
It's about pushing yourself a little harder. Now, let's answer some listener questions before wrapping up the episode.
Sometimes you just need to step away and refresh. I'm ready, and I think our listeners are ready too.
We love hearing from you. All right, the first question. What was your experience when you first tried to think in English?
Let me answer this. At first, it felt unnatural, like trying to juggle with my non-dominant hand. I struggled with finding the right words, and I often paused to translate in my head. But over time, it became easier as I practiced and learned more phrases. It's like learning to ride a bike. Wobbly at first, but smooth sailing eventually.
Yeah, it's great when we start thinking in English naturally. It's like a mental switch flips. Now, answer my question. Why does the brain find it hard to think in English?
Easy. The brain finds it hard because it's used to thinking in your first language. It's a matter of habit and familiarity. Switching to English takes time, practice, and new habits. You're essentially rewiring your brain.
Good job. Now let's continue. We have a few more questions lined up.
Here's a fun idea, Gwen. What if people talk to themselves in English? It might sound odd, but it's incredibly effective.
Oh, I love this one. Asking yourself questions in English is a great way to think faster and build fluency. It's like having a personal English tutor inside your head.
Okay, let's try it. Gwen, what's a question you ask yourself every morning?
What should I wear today? And the answer is usually something comfortable and practical. I'm a big fan of layers.
My morning question is, what's for breakfast? The answer is always pancakes, if I'm lucky, or maybe a good omelet.
Now it's your turn, listeners. What's the first question you ask yourself in the morning? Is it about the weather or your schedule?
Is it what time is it? Or maybe, do I have to get up? Or perhaps, what's the plan for today?
Try answering that question in English. For example, if it's about time, say, it's 7 a.m. I have to get up. If it's about breakfast, say I'm making eggs and toast. Or if about the day, today I have meetings and I will go for a walk.
This works for any part of your day. Ask yourself, what am I doing now? Or, what do I need to do next? And don't forget to answer in English. Think of it as a running commentary of your day.
Turn it into a little conversation with yourself. Talking to yourself isn't weird. It's helpful. It's a form of active learning.
All right, Gwen, we've talked about describing surroundings and asking questions, but what if someone wants to think faster in English? They want to speed up the process.
Great point, Steve. One way to train your brain to think quickly is by using a timer. It's like a mental workout.
A timer? Like, for how long? Should they run a marathon?
Start small, maybe 30 seconds or a minute. During that time, challenge yourself to think about as many things as possible in English. It's about building mental agility.
For example, you could list all the items you see in your room, or think about all the things you need to do today.
You can say, I see a chair, a table, a lamp. Keep going until the timer stops. It's about rapid-fire thinking.
Let's try it now with our listeners. I'll set the scene. Imagine you're in a park. You have 30 seconds. Gwen, what do you see?
Okay, I see green grass, tall trees swaying in the breeze, children playing on swings, a dog running after a frisbee, and people walking their pets.
Nice. That was quick. Listeners, it's your turn. Set a timer on your phone for 30 seconds. Remember to pause this podcast to practice. Ready? Go.
You've done a great job, listeners. That's a fantastic way to sharpen your thinking skills.
Gwen, let's talk about a fun way to practice English, surrounding yourself with it. How can people do this without feeling overwhelmed or stressed?
Here's my advice. Listen to short English podcasts or watch quick videos daily. It's like adding a little English spice to your routine. You don't need to dedicate hours, just a few minutes here and there.
That's easy to do. Maybe while eating breakfast or scrolling on your phone, it's about making English a natural part of your day.
Speaking of phones, here's a tip. Change your phone or app settings to English. You'll pick up new words without even trying. It's like passive learning.
What if someone makes mistakes while trying to use English in these settings?
That's totally normal. Don't stop when you mess up. Just keep going. If you say something wrong, repeat it and try saying it in a simpler way. It's about learning. Through iteration.
Mistakes are just part of the process. They're like little clues telling you where to focus your attention.
So true. And listeners, your challenge for today, try one small thing in English. Maybe listen to this podcast again, or describe your day in simple English. It's about taking action.
Remember, the goal is to make English a regular part of your life. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like planting seeds and watching them grow.
All right. Let's learn the remaining phrases from today's episode to solidify our learning.
The first phrase is challenge oneself to set a goal or task that is difficult but achievable. I challenge myself to think in English for 1 minute every day. It's about pushing your boundaries.
Next is set the scene, to create a mental image before practicing. Before thinking in English, set the scene by imagining you're in a new place. It's about creating a mental environment.
Then we have surround oneself with, to expose yourself to English through different activities. You can surround yourself with English by listening to podcasts daily. It's about immersion.
Next up, pick up new words, meaning to learn new vocabulary naturally. You can pick up new words by changing your phone's language. It's about absorbing language passively.
And the last phrase, scroll on your phone, to move through content on a smartphone. You can scroll on your phone while watching short English videos. It's about integrating learning into your daily habits.
Now, let's ask our listeners a few questions to recap what we've learned.
Why should you keep practicing, even if you're not perfect? What's the benefit of persistence?
Let me answer this. Surrounding yourself with English helps you learn new words naturally in your daily life. It's about learning in context.
I agree. My turn. What's one benefit of surrounding yourself with English? How does immersion help?
The more you practice, the better you'll get. English will feel easier and more natural. It's about building fluency and confidence.
Just keep going and you'll improve. It's a journey, not a destination.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thinking in English might feel challenging at first, but remember, small steps lead to big progress. It's about consistency.
Absolutely. Keep practicing, embrace your mistakes, and make English a part of your daily life. You've got this. You have the power to transform your language skills.
Thanks for spending time with us. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with your friends or leave us a review. It helps a lot. Your feedback is invaluable.
And stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll dive into another fun topic to boost your English skills. We have many exciting topics planned.
Bye for now, and keep practicing.
Bye for now.